coming into this season here, showing that he can take and make the toughest shots, he can get stops, and he can galvanize and lead this team into the next level. Are they looking to develop their young talent and build towards the future, or are they in win now mode with the host of veteran players who oddly enough have fluctuating playing times themselves? When we talk about the likes of Otto Porter, Devin Dotson, and Garrett Temple. What is next for the Chicago to bolster this roster?
Adam, let me ask you about the Bulls for a second. The guards I love Zach LaVine, love Kobe White. I don't know if I'm sure if I love the bigs. Lauri Markkanen, you talk about, Wendell Carter. What do you see this team doing by the trade deadline to make the next step for the Bulls organization?
It's a tough thing to battle right now, I think, Jay, because Arturas Karnisovas, who comes over from Denver, takes over as VP of operations. He spoke to the media the other day when the Bulls played the Nuggets and was basically saying that I don't look at players just as trade commodities. And there's a lot to try to parse through one sentence, but that's the sentence that kind of stuck out to me from his press conference the other day. And I wonder, what does that translate to in terms of staying pat at a trade deadline because you're trying to play for the future? Or does it mean trying to ship off a player like a Thaddeus Young? If you can find a trade package for somebody like a Lauri Markkanen or a Wendell Carter Jr., would you go ahead and take that right now? Carter is still under contract for another year after this season. Markkanen is going to be a restricted free agent after this season. And in the long term, can you keep both of those players? Do you want to keep both of those players as long-term options to build around as part of your core? If you're considering the core to be a Zach LaVine, a Kobe White, and then one of those two players, and then maybe trying to keep a player like a Thaddeus Young who's had such a productive season and has a really important relationship, it feels like, with some of the younger players, is that what you build around? So I don't know if it's a trade deadline move if you're playing for the future, but if you could possibly package one of those players for a lot to come back or a couple of draft picks that you can build off of, then I think that may end up being the move. Or this is a team that just kind of sticks around and stands pat and see what this year looks like in the second half of the season, and then try to reevaluate in the offseason and try to make some moves when you're going to have a lot more cap space next year. Remember, Otto Porter's contract is off the books more than likely next year.
It'd be interesting considering the history of injury for Lauri Markkanen too.
What should every contender raises their hand? Too bad it isn't happening. Chicago Bulls Executive Vice President of Basketball Operations is telling teams that Thaddeus Young